Hey guys, Gabriel Varga here. We're all in lockdown. We don't have pad holders, we don't have sparring partners, we don't have bag for the most part, for most people. So today we're gonna be talking about what's left, and that's shadow boxing. Proper mentality behind shadow boxing and proper technique and things you can be doing. All that coming up now. Alright guys, I've traveled around to a lot of gyms and I've seen a lot of different shadow boxing styles, and the first thing that I'm going to note, that I'm going to comment on, is when most people get into their stance, they all, at the gyms, they all have the same style. So if you're at a Thai gym, everybody's moving like that. If you're at a kickboxing gym, a lot of people are bouncy, hands tight. And shadow boxing is really a great time for you to figure out what works best for you. You don't have to go with the flow, you don't have to follow everybody else in the gym with their style. This is the time for you to play around with all the different techniques, defense, offense, put together your own style and your own combos. That's really important, because if you're always throwing gym combos, you're not really going to be able to venture and create your own style. So if I get into my stance and I'm always being taught, 1, 2, 3, and that's what I throw all the time, it's just going to keep happening, which means you're probably going to throw it in the fight way too often, because we all have muscle memory, and muscle memory takes over when your brain shrinks down and you get that sort of fight or flight response. You're in the ring, you're gonna fight, but you don't want to be limited in your attacks. And really, I haven't had too many fights where I don't really feel my brain thinking that much, but I've heard people talk about not remembering the fight, and they just kind of go on what their muscle memory tells them. And I think that's a real mistake if you are limited to a certain number of techniques. So when you get in the gym, instead of always throwing the same thing over and over, start venturing out, start making up your own combos, work your defense, let your hands go a little bit more, get those legs in there. Because when you really start venturing out, you might not be a spinning hook kick kind of guy, but once you start throwing it once in a while, even if you're not going to really ever throw it in a fight, you're getting used to different things, you're adapting, and when you adapt, you're going to be that much more capable in the fight, because in the fight, sometimes you have to change your style. You might be this style of fighter, and then all of a sudden you're getting worked over. Somebody's beating you. What are you going to do? You're going to keep grinding with that style and lose, or you're going to switch up. Maybe throwing those little weird techniques once in a while is really going to help you. Or vice versa, if you're somebody who's very flashy, you want to be able to sometimes just stand your ground, get in that stance, and just bang away, because you can't always have one thing that works. So shadow boxing, that's your time to really play around. I start playing around, I start moving, and yes, I have my favorites. I'm very often throwing my body shot, I'm letting that go. I'm working on my head movement, working on my tight defense. A lot of times my hands are just here. That's my style, but I do like to still get that in, even though I don't do it in my fights very often. The more versatile you are in shadow boxing and in the gym, the more you're gonna find your style, and that's really what it's all about. Find your style, that'll make you the best fighter you can be. Copying your gym style or copying your trainer's style is not gonna make you the best fighter, because their style is not your style. So the first thing you can do to get better at shadow boxing, just get going and just start firing hands. Stick to the basics, just hands. I'm firing away. But now what I have to do is I have to start engaging some defense. I can't just be all offense when it comes to shadow. So now I have to start making sure my hands are getting those blocks in between. And then I gotta get the counters off. So I'm working. And I'm just making sure that it's give and take. Again, mistakes made in shadow boxing. One way forward. One approach, attack, attack, attack. That's wrong, it's offense and defense. So far we have the mental side. We want to be thinking outside the box. Don't just throw everything that you see everybody else throw. Make up your own combos, your own style. Even if you throw something once, twice, 3 times, and then you go, I hate that combo, I hate that technique. I prefer here, I don't like here. But you've tried, you've thrown it, you've given it a shot, instead of never trying. If you don't try, like Wayne Gretzky used to say, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So try it, and then disregard it if it doesn't work for you. And number two, remember, shadow boxing is not just offense. It's not just my time to throw. It's my time to get good on offense and defense and really work what your favorite style of fighting is defensively as well. So I love in shadow boxing working my blocks. You know, I'll block, get my counter off, block, get my counter. But then sometimes I'll practice my scoop, my sweep. You know, somebody kicks me, catch, sweep through. Not something I do too often, mostly because I'm not allowed in kickboxing, but still, I practice it in shadow boxing. It will come out in sparring. It always does. Everything I've tried in shadow boxing enough will come out in the pads and then will come out in sparring. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the pace of shadow boxing. And I see so many gyms where the pace is just so slow. And I mean, maybe that's a great time to really be focusing when you're going that slow on all the technique and all that stuff I was talking about. But I see so many people just the same single techniques, the front kicks, the round kicks, no setup, no combo. If you're gonna do basic shadow boxing, focus on those strong basics. At least throw them hard, throw them fast. The only time you really, in my opinion, want to go slow in shadow boxing is when you're learning something. And if you're an intermediate or an expert in the sport, you're not really using the shadow boxing time to learn things. It's my warm up, it's my time to engage my brain, usually to think about the upcoming fight and start implementing the game plan that I have. And it's time for a workout. It's time to get my body and my heart rate going. I can get a great workout in shadow boxing. So that, guys, is my little rant on shadow boxing. I'm gonna bang some off here myself so you guys can watch, enjoy, and I'll see you guys back here soon for another video. Oh, one more point, guys. If you stayed around, you're still here, you haven't left, you're enjoying watching me shadow box, extra little tip for you. Question about shadow boxing that I've gotten a number of times: hands closed or hands open? Some gyms really don't like the idea of open hands. My brother was at a boxing gym and they actually had little weights, tiny little ones, I think half pound, so pretty equivalent to a glove, a small glove, and they would always have them because they didn't want their hands opening. But then you see guys like Manny Pacquiao, and he's always shadow boxing with his hands open. He very rarely closes them. So who's right? The answer, I think, is neither. Choose what works best for you. Just remember that sometimes, especially if you're planning on hitting hard, you do want to practice closing that fist tight and pretending that there's some impact there. But do I think that, you know, shadow boxing with your hands open is going to lead to you breaking your hand in the fight? I don't think it's an issue. You know, you get your pad work, you get your bag work, you get your drills with your partner, you get your sparring. That's all closed fist. If you want to let your arms go a little bit loose and you just want to let your hands fly in shadow boxing, go for it.